Hello, everybody. It's me, Dr. Cortez. I'm back for a second round, round two. I feel more comfortable now. I got, had to get the first one out of my way. But for this video presentation, I'm going to cover the final class project, which is the Community Relations Plan PowerPoint presentation. So, of course, we're not going to present to each other. All you're going to do is design the PowerPoint presentation, put it together, and submit it for your final project, in the class. Um, I forgot what date. I can't hold on. You know what? Let me look at it real quick. It is due on April 22nd. So that's the final day. It's due. You can submit it anytime beforehand. That's fine. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. But I will try to cover as much as I can so it can make sense to you. So hopefully you will not have any questions. I did write in the instructions that before looking at this video, you can open up. Go to the samples folder in our D2L page and open up the sample, the community relations PowerPoint plan sample that I made available to you, so you can take a look at it. And then as I'm going through the items and the format, you can see, right. You can look at the sample and see what I'm talking about, so you can get a sense of what I expect from all of you. So so let's get started, right? So final class project, community relations plan PowerPoint presentation. You will present a 10 to 15-minute presentation. That's not going to happen, right? And the criteria are listed below. So there's 4 parts. It's not as extensive as your midterm project, so it's not as intense as well, right? Neither. And it's just 4 simple parts, and I'm going to explain each item. So for part A, concern and proposed policy, right? 1, identify and explain a school concern that impedes the learning environment of students, right? So identify what is it that you're trying to improve. It doesn't necessarily have to be a concern. It could be something that you want to bring in addition to, right? It could be the types of topics that people have covered have ranged from installing a rail in the staircase to putting a stop sign in the street intersection, in front of the school, to addressing concerns of violence, drugs, bad leadership, right, or community conflict within the external community members, right? So all of that, it could be whatever you think. I strongly suggest that you cover something that you feel is pressing, that you feel that you're somewhat invested in, right? So you can, the whole point of this project is for you to develop these skills of when something's going on and you want to see change in your school. How would you create this community relations plan to engage folks, different stakeholders, right, in your school community to get behind you, or not even behind you, but to get to be on the same page, to have some input, right, and to make this change happen. So this project is not set up for you to what's the word I'm looking for, to solve any issues or come up with solutions. It's more to how do you get started and bring together all the different stakeholders in your community so they can understand what is it that needs to be changed, what is the concern, what is the vision, and how folks can be involved. All right, so keep that in mind as you prepare for your project. So part A, a concern and proposed policy, right? Identify and explain school concern that impedes the learning environment of students. Keep in mind that what we learned from Douglas Fury is keep it simple. Keep it simple. You don't have to over elaborate. It could be 2 sentences, 3 sentences, right? In terms of what the concern is. Take a look at the sample, right, to see what I'm talking about. And remember, keep it simple, keep it brief, and avoid using jargon as teachers, right? You want to use language that folks who are not educators or who are working for the school can understand, so different stakeholders can know what you're saying in terms of your presentation, right? Second part is develop a vision that addresses the concern and promotes the success of all students. So what is the change that you want to see, right? What's the vision that you have? So part 1 is identify the issue, the concern, right? And the two is what is the vision, what is the change that you want to see, and explain that, right? In a concise way, of course. And then three is design a press release statement that frames a school concern in your community relations plan. So how would you reach out to the community? Now, for this item, what is also required is when you put the release statement, the press release statement, make sure you include the letterhead from your school, right? We want to make sure that you know how to get access to that, how to look professional, look at the sample. I believe the student's name is Jose. He does a fine job of that. So get the letterhead from your school, make it look professional. I know one of you works for this Chicago Park District, so you can use them. That's fine, right? But you want to represent the institution that you work for as you're doing this press release statement, right? Four, identify the contact information of the local newspaper to post a press release. So this one requires you to reach out and know who your local newspaper partner is, right? It's good to have this person in your network so you can reach out to them whenever you want, stuff written about your school. So identify the contact information. So the name of the newsletter. Usually folks from the suburbs, they use a newsletter that's local in the area. In Chicago, some folks have used the Black Club newspaper. If there's a local one, that's fine. Try not to use like the Chicago Sun Times or the Tribune. Try to find something that's local. And some people have used the Black Club newspaper. I think that's what it's called, right? And so identify the newsletter, name, identify the name of the person and the position of the contact person, right? And then put down their phone or email address. And because this is a public organization that is available, it should be made available. So the whole reason of this is we want to make sure that you know how to get a hold of these people in terms of developing your skills, right, and reaching out to the community. So you do need to put that person's name, their position, and their phone and or email address. Cool. All right. We're gonna jump to part B. This is the polling survey, and so this part goes back to what Douglas Fury was saying in terms of developing a two-way communication with your community stakeholders. So we want to get some input, right, on folks on why they should support this change, right, and you want to design questions to kind of get like some more insight that can help you understand like how you can put this change together. So one is identify motives for each of the following groups to support the community relations plan. So what would be a motive for the students to support the plan? Another one would be what would be a motive for teachers, right? And what would be the motive for families? And to be quite honest, almost like 90% of group of projects that get submitted, the motives are almost identical, but sometimes there's a little shift in how you word it, right? So, example, uh, parent participation in, if you're talking about you want to increase parent participation, at school events, right? Report card pickups, and such, those type of events. So the motives for students would be, the motive will be for students to understand that the parents are involved and know the expectations from the school. Most for teachers to develop relations with the parents so they can support their teachers right at home, and the most for families is to be involved so they can know how to be more effective, right, and supporting their children. So again, they're identical, but it's really how you word it that could be just a slight shift, right, in how you word it for each different stakeholder. So don't worry too much about it if it sounds too similar, right? Part two, identify specific groups you will target to conduct a poll on concern you are addressing. So for one, teachers. So this all varies. For the most part, almost everybody puts all teachers in the school. It all depends on your topic, right? Sometimes it could be, well, you know what, this topic pertains to the physical education teachers, and I want to poll the teachers in that department. So you just say the physical education teachers from the physical education department, right? Uh, so that's if you want to be more, particular in terms of which group of teachers you want to, poll. Now, if you're gonna do all teachers in the school, you just pretty much say the teachers listserv, email listserv, right? 'Cause that pretty much means they're gonna send this out to everybody in the school, and that's just being, so instead of saying all teachers, you're being specific in how you're gonna reach out to them, and that's through the teachers listserv, right? Yeah, email listserv, cool. Same thing for students, right? So what specific groups, if there's a specific group that you feel that you just want to target, let it be the Student Government Association or a particular student group, or student level, right? All the juniors in class, in the school, whatever. Or if you're gonna do the same thing about all students, then again, students a listserv, email listserv, right? And then for the parents, the same thing, right? It's gonna be parents from the PTA, maybe some other parent organizations, or maybe certain demographics, right? Of parents. And the same thing with students, right? If you want to hit up certain people with different, with either specific backgrounds or experience and expertise in something, right? Again, it's just about being specific. And for parents, the same thing. If you're gonna do all parents, then you just say the parents email listserv. Cool. All right. Part three for part A is display the contact information for school website to present the poll. So you're gonna conduct this poll, uh, and then you want to, where are you gonna present it at, right? Where are folks gonna find this poll? So it will be on the website. So find out who the person is that's for your school, that's in charge of designing the website, the name, their position, and their phone or email address, right? So you want to put that information so you can demonstrate that you know where to find this resource. Four, display contact information for school newspaper to present poll results. So now you're reaching out outside the school to I'm sorry, you're reaching out to the school newspaper so they can send out this information. In some cases, schools don't have a newspaper. Everything's on the website. So if it's the same individuals, you could just put same as above, right? Or not available. So again, name, position, and phone or email address, and how to get a hold of this person. And then five, this is a bit more extensive. So display poll samples, right? So what questions are you going to be asking to the different stakeholders, right? And you take a look at the sample, and you'll see that for each stakeholder, there's three questions for each group. So what questions would you be asking students, right, from their point of view, from their experience, right? Parents, community members, what would you like to know from them, right, in terms of your community relations plan, and then faculty and staff, right? So these are three different groups, and what questions would you design for them to respond to give better insight, right, on how to move forward with this community relations plan. And again, the minimum is three questions. If you want to do more, that's fine. But take a look at the sample so you get an idea, right, of how to design these questions. All right, we're halfway there. Part C, setting goals, right? So list three long-term goals that serve to meet main goal of community relations plan, right? So what is the vision? You have to refer back to your vision, and I just break it up of three main goals that you want to establish for this campaign, right, or plan. And it could be a little general. That's fine, right? So three long-term goals that you would like to establish during the plan. Now the follow-up is list three specific resources you will initially use. Now these are your short-term goals to help meet the three long-term goals listed above. So for the long-term goals that you have, what is the first initial step? That's the short-term goal that you will take, right, to get this started. So it could be reaching out to a certain department, reaching out to a certain member of the staff or faculty, depending on their position. a parent organization, or maybe even trying to access certain resources, right? So what initial steps will you take, and list three of them, and these will be your short-term goals, right? So make sure you list three of them for this part, and again, look at the sample. And the last part to this section is list how your goals respond to your school policy and topic. Now, this is important because it all depends on what topic you're covering. So you could look at your school handbook or your school district handbook, and then see where your plan, the theme of your plan, fits right on school policy, right? So if you can't find it, I've had students tell me where I can't find it, in my school handbook, I can't find it in the school district handbook, and some people have gone, look for in their mission or strategic goals or even their school improvement plan, right? And they were able to find it there and not in the in the handbook. So that's okay. You can do that. And if you can't, for whatever reason, find anything that any literature and any other sources that are directly linked to your plan, then I would just try to find something that's somewhat indirectly relevant, right, to that plan, and make it, relevant, right, and say this is as close as I can get in terms of policy that would support, right, like the initiative, the plan they're putting together. So again, list how your goals respond to school policy and topic, right? Because the reason we want you to do that is because once you engage with community relations plan, you want it to be, you want to show support that look, this is part of our handbook, of our policy, right? So this is something that we're trying to engage in, and that's the reason why we're asking you to find that. Two, evaluation tools. So this part is okay. Well, before you even get started, you need to know how you're going to evaluate yourself, right? To understand if you actually did influence, if you actually made an improvement, right, with your efforts. So explain who will monitor the community relations poll, right? Is it going to be a person? Is it going to be you? Is it going to be a committee, etc.? For the most part, everyone puts themselves or the AP, right? It all depends on the topic as well. The explain what measurements will be used to evaluate the community relations plan. So you can use, like, if you're doing attendance, participation, right? You can if you're doing attendance, you could look. Well, we're going to look at the attendance every semester. If participation of parents, well, we're going to take attendance, and we're going to evaluate them every time we have a meeting or an event, right? And then you will explain how much time will be given to revise the vision. So how often will you look, right, at the measurements to see if there's been an improvement? So again, it all depends on your topic. So you could be a little innovative, right, of how you're going to measure if there's an influence or not. For the most part, people use polls to say, you know what, I'm going to do a poll every year or every semester to see where we stand on this topic, right? So, but you just have to put that in there, so it's established that this is the forms of measurements that we're going to use, and this is the timeline of how every so often we're going to take a look at these measurements, right? Boom, that's part C. And now the last part, which is somewhat extensive but not too much. Part B, community outreach. So now we got to reach out to the external community to help out with this. So one, identifies 3 specific staff, faculty members who can assist in the community relations plan. Identify 3 people in your school. It could be staff and faculty who you feel are best to help you out with this plan, right? And again, be strategic with this because it all depends on your topic. Who will be the experts? Who will be someone who's in the know-how or just a better understanding, right, of how to improve this. So think about that as you put together this list, and then just put their names. You could put their names, or you could just put the positions, and that's fine. 2, identify specific community groups you will contact to assist you with your community relations plan. List their contact email and or phone number, because sometimes I know one or may not be available, and you must include one from each of the following group. So Identify a specific parent group, right? This could be a group that's affiliated with the school. That's fine. So there's like a PTA or local school council. You could identify that, right? And you would just need to also include like their email address and or phone number, right? A local business. This could be anyone. I mean, people have put together, and it's fun because in one case, I know one student they were doing something about improving behavior of disruptive students, and they reached out to beauty salons and barbershops, and they would give students with a history of disruptions, right? Behavior, disruptions. Students who actually have made a big difference in their behavior, who no longer are, and they're actually rewarded with a do over, right? A makeover, excuse me, with a makeover. And if they get to choose, right, depending on their how they identify themselves with their gender, so they get to go either to a salon or to a barbershop, and they get a free do a makeover, and it works out because even though the local business is doing it for free, it's still like they're still promoting their business, right? And hopefully getting new customers with that. So it works out. So again, right, that's one example in terms of being innovative and creative of bringing in partners in the school and establish those partnerships. So a local business. The third one is a community organization, right? So not a business, but a community organization. It could be affiliated with health, clinic, social, like a hangout spot, tutoring spot, right? Media, maybe it's like art, or just some newspaper or any type of like media services where they engage with youth or community members in the community, right? So, and that's it's not limited to that, but those are some examples. But our community organization and identifying them specifically, and again their contact person, their email, and their contact email and or phone number. The fourth group is a religious group, right? So I only require one. Some people put more than one, and you can put a church, synagogue, right, mosque, Buddhist temple, or whichever is available in your community, right? I've had people put all four, right? So again, it's totally up to you, but list their contact information. So again, you can know how to get a hold of different organizations that represent different type of services in the community to be on the same page with your community relations plan. And then the third part is identify specific times and spaces along with a 3-item agenda to meet with the following groups and discuss the community relations plan. So here you have to be very specific, right? So how often, when will you meet with teachers, right? And take a look at the sample. And I've had people say, we're gonna meet at 12:30 in the gym on Tuesdays, right, to discuss this with families because it's gonna be after school. We're gonna meet at 5:30 at the assembly hall, right? And community organizations, right? We're gonna meet at the public library. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. It could be anywhere. It doesn't have to be in those spaces, but tell me specifically where is a good place to meet with these stakeholders at what time. And for each group, you need to provide a 3-item agenda of what you're going to cover, right, in terms of the community relations plan. And it has to be uh, stay away from being vague. It has to be specific in terms of what you're going to cover for your agenda when you meet with them, right? And again, take a look at the sample. He does a great job of being specific with his agenda. And then last but not least is identify 3 challenges you expect during the community relations plan. So, it could be like participation, resources, budget. That's usually a very common one. But whatever. But you know more than I do about your school. But what are some challenges that you can anticipate of happening so you can best prepare for that? So that's it. That's the community relations plan format. Please take a look at the uh, at the sample, right, to help you with that. So I hope this made sense. I hope it was helpful. And if you have any questions, just email me, and You can submit it whenever you're ready. Cool. All right. Take care. Bye bye.